It's the Final Word Daily. Adam Collins and Jeff Lemon. It's Stumps Day 3 here at Headingley. We're here for Westfield, London. Westfield, Stratford City, more extra, less ordinary. Jeff's got 30 seconds to sum up what ended up being a brief but eventful day of cricket.
Waited 2 sessions before we got on, then we got on and things got moving quickly. Chris Woakes gets Mitchell Marsh and Alex Carey both off the bottom of the glove.
Bang, bang.
And bang, bang. And Mark Wood comes on, he starts bowling quick. And Mitchell Starc makes a few and hangs about for a bit. And then Pat Cummins gets out quickly and Travis Head says, enough of this nonsense. They keep trying to bump me. I'm going to start taking them on. He hits a couple of sixes, he hits a bunch of fours. Bats with Todd Murphy for a while, bats with Scott Boland for a bit. Caught in the deep for 77. Another very impressive hand from Head. They're 250 ahead. Australia 251 is what they said England to win. England 27. For none at the close.
Yep, that's it. So Australia didn't make the most of what became a 5-over mini session before the close of play. Should have been 6, but there was a test on Ben Duckett's finger after he copped a whack when batting. But he's going pretty nicely. Duckett at the close.
Is there a more Australian thing you can do than cop a
whack? Duckett's 18 from 19. Crawley's 9 from 11. They found the boundary on a number of occasions. We might come back to that in a bit. But yeah, you're right about Travis Head. They had the short pitch strategy ready to roll. They never considered trying to find his outside edge at the start of play today.
No,
there was 5 or 6 men back.
They wouldn't want to win a game like that. You know, I mean, I'm sure if you spoke to Ben Stokes, he wouldn't want to win a match like that.
Well, look, I think it's a plan that if you look at it in the context of stopping Head scoring, it actually has worked to an extent in this test match, or scoring quickly rather.
But except for the bit where he scored really
Except
quickly.
for the bit where he scored extremely quickly at the end. I think he made 50 something.
He made 43 off his last 30 balls, if that helps.
That'll do. And that's what it was. It was 30 from the last 36 balls of the innings. He managed to manipulate the strike like a seasoned veteran. And I suppose in a way Travis Head is a seasoned veteran now. He may not be as old as some of his colleagues, but he's been doing this for a long time. And look, when you came onto commentary at one point, Murphy had faced 4 deliveries. I came back 25 minutes later. He'd faced 5 deliveries. I mean, the way that Head was able to play the milking the strike game better than England were had a big influence on why they were able to add 54 for the last 2
There's
wickets.
a 4-over spell there where Murphy faces 1 ball, and
Yeah.
particularly with Mark Wood bowling, because Wood's already got Starc out, who played really well, and Cummins out quickly, and so Travis Head doesn't want to let Murphy face Wood at all. So he's like, fine, I'll face the 6th ball of the over. I'm not looking for the single off the 4th or the 5th ball. I'll face every delivery Mark Wood has, and if I can get a run from the last ball, happy days. But he keeps getting a run from the last ball. He keeps finding a way to find the gap. Like, it was a clever innings. It was clever in that he, in your favourite terminology at the moment, had to absorb pressure. He had to find a way through, because as soon as they started, it was this bizarre thing, right? Like, you're at Headingley, it's cloudy, it's gloomy, you've had to wait 2 sessions of rain.
Yep.
You finally get on. It's going to suit the bowlers down to the ground. They can go full tilt because it won't be a long day. All the rest of it. And you're like, here's Chris Woakes, premier exponent of swing bowling in this team, and he's going to bang it in halfway down the track with 5 guys on the fence and nobody in the slips.
Yeah.
It was just weird.
And what made it more incongruous is that when he was bowling to the other batter, initially Head, then Carey, he was hooping it round corners. A 9-over spell, an excellent 9-over spell.
Yep.
I think it was a really good selection. Chris Woakes to exploit conditions that he's so well suited to in England. He's taken his 100th wicket in England today at an average of 22 or something absurd.
Winning runs tomorrow. I've got a feeling it could be Chris Woakes
Wouldn't be surprised. The nicest bloke in cricket, as they always say. But no, he gets 2 to get them moving. Then Wood gets 2, albeit after they have a nice little partnership, Head and Starc, just to take some sting out of the game. Well, I think they added 30, I've got it written down here somewhere, they added 29 in 39 balls, I think it was. And that was the point where actually Starc was the one who was able to just to get a little bit of momentum there.
Yep.
He's caught it short leg. Harry Brook running back with the flight. He was going for it, then he wasn't, then he was again. He thought Bairstow was coming. Truth told, whisper it was Bairstow's catch. But Brook gets to the contest and makes it count, takes it mid-air, diving backwards towards leg gully. And then Cummins gets out to Wood. And then this place, with Australia at that point, 170 for 8. They're only in the lead by 196. I mean, really, Australia should be all out 5 minutes later if we take the trend of the first innings. And that is where Head comes into his own.
Yeah, and so well, if I dial back for a minute to Woakes bowling to, because Mitchell Marsh comes out and smokes 2 boundaries, looks as good as he did in the first innings. And it's Woakes not with swing but with extra bounce. He's got Marsh trying to leave and it gets the under edge of the glove, and then he's got Carey trying to leave, again it's extra bounce. So it's not just Woakes floating it up there and moving it through the air, it's getting it to rise off the pitch. Carey plays it down onto his stumps. So the crowd loves that, and they love Cummins getting out because he reviews, and so they get to see him given out twice because he's caught behind.
And they get to do the same old Aussies, etc., etc.
Of course they do. Incredibly inventive, just really clever stuff. Well done. Pat yourself on the back. But yeah, then there's that point, like you say, at that stage, Mark Wood should be tearing through the rest of them. But he's into his 5th over by that point, and then his 6th, and he starts to wane a little bit in speed, dips down into the 80s, getting a little bit tired after that initial burst. And I mean, Murphy takes him on. The first few balls Murphy has to face against him, he does pretty well, gets inside the line, pulls one away for 4. First ball he faces, he smokes through the covers for 4 because he gets a fully pitched
Lara-esque, I felt that was at the time.
He was just trying to nudge a single, Murphy, but he just timed it too. He literally just wanted one, and he hit it so well. But once he's off strike, he stays off strike.
Lara.
The Echuca Lara. I like it. Echuca, Moama. You figure it out.
We started really. Moama.
Ooh, I want to take you to. So, and then Travis Head starts finding the boundaries and playing a little like Stokes is playing at the end of England's innings, where it's like, all right, pick the spot. Okay, they've got everybody out, but they don't have somebody at long off. How am I going to get a short ball down through long off? I will find a way. I mean, he was so impressive in the way that he had to hang tough when things were difficult, get through that really difficult phase when everything was up around his ears, and then start taking them downtown and start taking them over deep square leg and all the rest of it. The ability to change gears, and you look at his summer, the 100 in the World Test Championship final, 50 at Edgbaston, 77 at Lords, and here again another half century. So he's been super consistent while being super attacking, which is the hardest thing to do.
I think sometimes the conversation around Head's like a little bit of an immature one because he's been dropped and he's been dispensable. And then obviously sides have evaluated over time that if you bowl short at him, he'll be less comfortable than when it's full because he's so brilliant off the front foot, especially when he's able to play it through point in that sort of fashion that we saw through last summer at Perth and at Adelaide when he monstered the Windies. There were so many shots played either side of point.
And South Africa.
South Africa, of course, at the Gabba, that 92, which was as good as a century. Well, today was as good as a century as well, and why it was so good is that he had to scrap so hard to get to the point where he was allowed to flourish. And, you occasionally hear from people out the side of their mouth, he's scared of the short ball. He's not scared of the short ball. Nobody fronting up in Test cricket is scared of it. He's mindful, like everyone, of getting hit on the head by Mark Wood. But there's a distinction
seen
there.
Some people down the lower half of the order who are scared of it.
No, but no one doing the job he's doing, having to front up day in, day out against short pitch bowling at training and so on and so forth. Like there's, bringing his character into question or his courage into question misses the point. He's just not as good against that type of bowling. So having to survive against it and then finding a way to prosper, playing a number of cross-batted shots through the air, 2 over mid-wicket. Damien Fleming on our broadcast compared it to the shot he played at Adelaide Oval on New Year's Eve to bring up that famous Big Bash 100 years ago. He's always had that in him as well. So he's increasingly the complete player, and getting through an interrogation like he did today from Mark Wood and co only adds to why he's so important for Australia. And there'll be no more talk of leaving Travis Head out in series in the future.
Well, I don't think. I mean, there shouldn't have been a couple of years ago. It's Brisbane at the start of the previous Ashes series when he really starts to show his worth, and it really starts to come good for him. 150 there, makes the 100 in Hobart, makes the 92 against South Africa. So all at times, and the 100 at the Oval, all at times when the team's in trouble. They're 3 down for not too many when he comes in. And at this point in time, like you say, the lead's under 200. They're in all sorts of strife. Now, 250, you may not win the Test match with 250, but it gives you a competitive chance to try to win the Test match with 250.
I reckon Australia, if they're offered 108 when they walk out under truly leaden skies, it was so dark, the atmosphere was so steamy, the perfect conditions to get the ball moving around, England an attack well suited to that, they would have happily taken where they arrived at, setting 251. And look, it's been a low-scoring game. It's been a great surface for bowlers getting the ball to not only move, through off the surface and through the air. So, all things being equal, they'll get their opportunities tomorrow. It's a matter of whether they can take them early, because we know that England have got that muscle memory chasing, and if they get into a groove early on, they'll be really hard to stop.
Well, and they did pretty well in the session they had tonight. Scott Boland bowled a good last over of the inning of the day to Duckett, who had a couple of slight miscues there, but they've bitten 10% of the run chase off, and without too many alarms.
It just Cummins didn't bowl 2 good overs, right?
Yeah.
And that happens. This wasn't Manchester in 2019 when they had 7 overs and he gets 2 in the first, including the famous route delivery. This was more akin to the way he bowled at Nagpur in the first over, where he gave a couple of balls to Rohit Sharma to flick away. Well, so it was for Crawley and Duckett subsequently. They did hit Duckett on the glove, and they did burn one review as well, where they thought that Stark, well, I get why they went for it, because they heard a noise. Kerry heard a noise, and it could have been nothing but ball on bat, but there was a gap between the ball and the bat, so that's now burnt. And we know what happened with the reviews here at Headingley 4 years ago, and there are all sorts of echoes between that test match and this one, including the fact that it's going to end on a Sunday on day 4.
Yeah, it's definitely going to end on day 4 unless the forecasts are very off. There's rain forecasts very late in the day. But then that's what they said about today, and it was absolutely hosing down at 10 o'clock this morning. So who knows? Hall of Fame?
Why not?
Final Word Hall of Fame, where we pick our most final words, moments of the day. Well, not so much a moment, but I suspect for you, I haven't compared notes, but I suspect for you it's the same as me. It is the incredible time wasting during England's bowling innings. The actually embarrassing time wasting, where you have 9 players on the fence, you are bowling short balls. Why do you need to have a conversation at the end of every delivery? Why do you need to do that? This is almost an anti-Hall of Fame, because it is actually, like, it's funny, but it's also irritating that after every delivery, it was like, okay, Stokes gets together with Wood, then Broad comes over, then Robinson comes over. Then what are they adding to the conversation? What are you going to, I think maybe bowl a short one. Yeah, bowl a short one. Yeah, bowl a short one. Yeah, good on you.
I think we'll start with the anti-Hall of Fame, then we'll do the Westfield Hall of Fame for real in just a moment. The anti-Hall of Fame, I couldn't agree more. 156 deliveries for 20.1 overs for England today.
They were going at 11 overs per hour.
They got to less than that by the end. Andy Zoltzman ran me through the numbers before we recorded this podcast. It's a joke. And part of the reason they were doing it, clearly, was to ensure that they didn't have to face too many overs tonight. Because it gets to the stage where you know England are going to bat.
At some point.
So why not take Wood bowled one over that took 9 minutes, and there was no wicket in it. 9 minutes. And that was because after every ball, seemingly, there was some kind of meeting. And they were playing it like the last over of an IPL game, when extra minutes equal extra ads equal extra dollars. Well, no, here, all that it does is it guarantees that it takes something special when only playing one session to somehow fall as far short with the extra half an hour as the players did today. So, I was just, look, put it this way, I expect no different now.
No, and throw in a comment for the umpires, who I remember during one of these press conferences that they were having down there with 5 of them standing down at mid-on having a chat mid-over. Both umpires, they're just in their positions, not even
They're
watching.
Doing nothing. I completely agree with you. Umpires Menon and Dharmasena did not at any stage intervene. At no point. There was a conflab going on for about 2 minutes mid-over, and at no point...
They didn't even look at the players.
They're letting Stokes run the game in that situation, or England's team, but Stokes especially. They're not running the game. It's the umpire's job to make sure the game's moving at the right tempo and the right pace. So I don't always blame the umpires when players take the piss, but today they did nothing to intervene at any point. So they've contributed to the problem. They should be held accountable.
And it's umpires across the board who are scared of the players, and they're scared of irritating the players. I can't think of any other reason why they wouldn't actually take the initiative. They have a responsibility to the game to make sure it proceeds in a timely fashion. It's part of their job. Umpires across the board at the top level are failing at their job, and I don't know why they're allowed to keep doing it.
The Final Word Hall of Fame is brought to you by Westfield London and Westfield Stratford City. The competitive juices are flowing for both me and Jeff at the moment, as they would be. Not because I have any particular gripe with England, simply because the Ashes are on. And if you want to get in the thick of things as far as that's concerned, at Westfield Stratford City, you can play beer pong. You can play ping pong, darts, karaoke, pool, bat and ball, dingers at the home run house. Channel your inner Alex Carey and Under Armour ball at static objects some distance away at All Star Lanes. There was a celeb appeal from Stuart Broad today, which was an absolute shocker as well. We've got to get that out of the game, but I think for the most part I want to sell it.
He actually did turn around eventually. He made it up level with the batter, and then he spins around just at the last minute in order to see it given out. So a little bit of progress. Well done, Stuart. A little bit of progress.
Yeah, but by that point he was sprinting down the surface. We've gone through this before on the weekly show, and why they can tinker the laws of the game to make sure that to compel a bowler to turn around and formally ask the question. But I suppose it goes around the world and goes viral, and people like that as well, because clicks mean money and all the rest of it. Hey, here's the good news. By the way, Google Westfield London, Westfield Stratford City, and you can find out why it's such a great place to buy clothes and to go and eat and to go and have fun and go and compete. More extra, less ordinary.
You can race a tractor.
More extra, less ordinary. And that's in all probability, what we're going to get tomorrow. It is so well set up. 2:24 from here, sure. England looked serene this evening, but it won't always be that way because Pat Cummins and Mitchell Starc and Scott Boland will create opportunities. Murphy will come into the game at some stage as well. I'm fairly confident of that, watching the way that he's gone about his Test career so far. There will be a wobble. Who knows? I said this a couple of weeks ago. There might even be a tie.
You're always saying there might be a tie. I mean, it is
If
true.
you say it enough.
If you say it enough, there will be a time when it happens.
There'll be a time when it happens and we'll be there and I'll be the one saying, I called it first.
Okay, so there have been, what, two? So we had 1961 and 1986,
Correct.
which means we're due. There's got to be
We're
one.
due.
There's got to be one coming.
And there nearly was one at Birmingham, which was the last time I said this.
Sure, okay. We'll keep saying it, and maybe in another 30 or 40 years, you might see a Test hat-trick and you might see a tie.
Well, it is my 150th Test this week, which
Yeah,
of course
I
I'm
heard
not meant to celebrate.
Absolute
Not that I
nonsense.
care that much.
Nonsense milestone.
Just the way my brain works that I know these types of things.
Sure, well, like I said, get back to me when you get 200.
I don't know, might not take too long. This has been the Final Word Daily at Leeds Day 4. We're off to go and get a bite to eat or have a cup of tea or a beer or something like that. If you really like what we do, patreon.com/The Final Word. A bunch of our beautiful patrons were at the pub last night with us. They found each other through the Discord channel. It's the nicest part of the internet. You can do that too. Patreon.com/The Final Word. You help Jeff and I do what we're doing right now, making shitloads of podcasts. And there'll be another one tonight from the Women's Ashes T20 International at Lords. We're not recording because obviously we're here when the game's taking place. But
we are. Henry Moran's doing it and making a Final Word hosting debut, Melissa Story.
Melissa Story on the Final Word. How good is that? That's it from us. Westfield, London, Westfield, Stratford City. More extra, less ordinary. Cannot wait for tomorrow. Bye.